The story begins with pressure building around Sean Diddy Combs as long-buried claims resurface, connecting him to allegations that stretch back more than 2 decades. The spotlight intensifies when Jaguar Wright introduces details she says were hidden inside sealed documents from the late 90s. Details connected to a man named Derek Lee Cordello Smith and an incident involving someone named Carl Bishop. According to her, these documents included far more than the public ever knew. They reportedly connected an entirely separate allegation directly to Diddy, one that never appeared in headlines or mainstream reporting and seemed to vanish before it was ever examined. With each new piece of information, the situation grows stranger. Sealed records, missing reports, unexplained gaps in the timeline, and a man claiming he was forced to take responsibility for something he didn't do. These elements raise questions about who knew what and why certain information failed to surface for nearly a decade. As the details stack up, the possibility emerges that the story might be bigger than a forgotten case or a quiet settlement. It could represent a long-standing pattern of power, influence, and concealment that shaped Diddy's rise during his early career. The tension comes from not knowing how much of this remains hidden, how much has been erased, and what the truth would reveal if every piece finally came to light.
Jaguar Wright enters the conversation not as an outsider, but as someone who lived close to the entertainment industry's inner workings for years. Her reputation has always been a blend of raw honesty and emotional intensity, and that combination has made her both respected and controversial. She is known for calling out powerful figures long before mainstream outlets dare to acknowledge similar accusations. Over time, several of her older claims have resurfaced in the form of lawsuits, leaked footage, and public scandals, creating a pattern where many start paying closer attention to anything she says. Her willingness to discuss private industry behavior, its darker corners, and the personalities behind closed doors has placed her in a unique position. A whistleblower without institutional backing, but with first-hand experiences that can't be easily dismissed. Her latest claims stand out because of the tone, the specificity, and the seriousness of the information she claims to have found. She describes not just rumors, but documents, sealed files, and details that appear too precise to be fabricated casually. That's why her statements have generated such heavy conversation online. This isn't simply another dramatic allegation, but a story with potential legal and historical implications tied to one of the most powerful figures in modern music. Her background makes her a lightning rod, but it also makes it nearly impossible to ignore her when she speaks with such conviction.
The core of the controversy revolves around a set of documents from 1998 involving Derek Lee Cordello Smith, originally tied to an incident involving Carl Bishop. According to the information described, what should have been a straightforward case took a strange turn when a separate report, allegedly naming Diddy, appeared within the same file. This report contained details about a completely different incident, yet it was lumped into the paperwork surrounding Derek's alleged actions. Jaguar claims this document included medical examinations, incident descriptions, and even DNA evidence implicating someone other than Derek. Yet, despite these details, Derek was reportedly pressured to accept responsibility for what occurred, leading him to insist repeatedly in court that he was being framed. His courtroom statements reportedly included pleas to be heard and warnings that evidence was being ignored or misused. Even more disturbing is the claim that the judge allegedly acknowledged Derek's innocence but stated that the case would continue as written. Combined with the fact that the documents remain sealed for nearly a decade, the situation raises questions about why Diddy's alleged involvement disappeared from public record, why 2 unrelated incidents were combined, and why Derek's protests failed to change the outcome. The deeper this case is examined, the more suspicious the overlaps become, leaving open the possibility that someone with power influenced how the story was recorded and remembered.
Once the alleged documents surfaced, investigators and officials responded with immediate pushback. Some specialists reviewed the files and claimed that certain signatures appeared forged or duplicated,
arguing that parts of the documents were not consistent with official formatting or known procedures. Others insisted that internal records showed no trace of the allegations involving Diddy, suggesting that someone fabricated or manipulated the files before releasing them. However, the denials themselves raised questions. Critics noticed how quickly some officials dismissed the documents without providing alternative explanations for specific details contained in them, details that would be difficult for an outsider to invent. Some pointed out that if these were truly forgeries, they were unusually complex, containing references to statute numbers, medical procedures, and internal processes that only someone with insider knowledge would know. The clash between claims and denials created an atmosphere of uncertainty. Was someone trying to cover up a mistake made decades ago? Or were the documents genuinely tampered with in an attempt to create a scandal around Diddy? With neither side offering definitive proof, the controversy settled into a gray area where speculation thrived. Every refutation added new suspicion, and every unverified detail opened the door to deeper doubt about what truly happened in 1998.
In addition to the case documents, Jaguar introduced disturbing allegations about so-called freak-offs, claiming these events were far more dangerous and exploitative than the public ever realized. She described gatherings involving heavy substance use, secrecy, manipulation, and individuals being filmed or pressured without clear consent. According to her, these events weren't casual parties, but orchestrated scenarios meant to control people, reward loyalty, or secure leverage over those who participated. The allegations paint a picture of an environment built on excess and power, where boundaries were blurred and consequences ignored. Jaguar suggested that some individuals were brought into these situations under dangerous circumstances and treated like disposable participants rather than guests. Even more alarming is her claim of possessing recordings that supposedly capture evidence of what happened during these gatherings. The idea that such material might exist adds a new level of tension to her story. Whether these recordings ever surface or not, the descriptions alone suggest a pattern of behavior that, if true, would reshape the public understanding of Diddy's private life and how he maintained influence within his inner circle. These claims, combined with the 1998 allegations, create a narrative filled with secrecy, power dynamics, and potential exploitation. As the allegations from the past continue to circulate, new issues have emerged around Diddy's current time in prison. Reports claim that he made a prohibited three-way call, violating communication rules that can lead to immediate disciplinary action, including the loss of earned time credits. For someone seeking early release through good behavior and rehabilitation programs, losing those credits could significantly extend the sentence. Rumors also surfaced about unauthorized drinking behind bars, something Diddy denies, but which still added fuel to public speculation about his behavior under pressure. If proven, these violations could result in removal from programs that help inmates reduce their time and potentially place him in restrictive housing conditions. Adding another twist, Diddy is reportedly working on a book while incarcerated. However, depending on the content, the Son of Sam law could prevent him from profiting from the project if it involves details connected to his criminal charges or past actions. These factors combine to paint a picture of uncertainty around his future, both legally and financially. Each new incident makes it harder to predict whether he will regain control of his situation or whether the consequences will continue stacking up as the outside world's attention intensifies. Outside the prison walls, tension appears to be growing within Diddy's family as speculation spreads about the future of his estate. With 7 children and a vast financial empire, questions have surfaced about who will control the money, the businesses, and the long-term legacy if Diddy faces harsher penalties or extended incarceration. Rumors suggest that some family members are preparing for potential legal battles to secure their share of control, especially if Diddy loses the ability to oversee his affairs from prison. Jaguar also introduced a shocking claim that Janice Combs, long believed to be Diddy's mother, may actually be his aunt, adding a layer of uncertainty to the family's public narrative. This allegation, whether true or not, raised curiosity about how many aspects of Diddy's past may have been reshaped or hidden over the years. Meanwhile, tensions among his children reportedly stem from differences in priorities, some focusing on preservation of the legacy, others on distancing themselves from the controversies, and still others concerned about who will inherit decision-making power if Diddy's influence declines. The uncertainty surrounding his wealth and legacy is already shaping relationships and creating the potential for conflict long before any official legal disputes begin.
Amid the darker allegations and family turmoil, a very different image emerges from reports inside the prison. Inmates describe Diddy as someone who has adopted a calmer, more grounded approach to life behind bars. He has reportedly started classes focused on business, leadership, mindset, and discipline, offering advice to men who feel lost or disconnected from their goals. His participation in these programs, according to some accounts, has created a sense of respect among fellow inmates, who see him as accessible and willing to help, rather than standoffish or entitled. Stories circulate about him encouraging others to plan for their future, build skills, and rethink their decision-making. These accounts complicate the public narrative by presenting him not only as a figure surrounded by controversy, but also as someone trying to reinvent himself in an environment where many struggle to maintain identity or purpose. Whether this transformation is genuine growth, strategic positioning, or a combination of both remains uncertain. But it adds another layer to the complex portrait of a man navigating legal battles, personal scrutiny, and a drastically different lifestyle than the one he lived outside.
With so many conflicting claims, sealed files, denials, rumors, and emerging details, the full truth remains tangled. The resurfaced 1998 documents raise critical questions about corruption, influence, and whether an innocent man was pushed into a false narrative. Jaguar's allegations about exploitation, secret gatherings, and recordings add another dimension of discomfort, suggesting behavior far beyond ordinary celebrity scandal. Meanwhile, Diddy's actions in prison, the legal challenges he faces, and the uncertain fight over his fortune reflect a life in freefall. The situation sits at a crossroads where every interpretation leads to a different conclusion, a hidden cover-up, an exaggerated accusation, a mix of truth and falsehood, or something even more complicated. The implications stretch beyond Diddy himself. They touch on the justice system, the entertainment industry, long-term power structures, and the secrets that powerful people may go to great lengths to protect. As more information surfaces, the central question becomes not only what happened, but what accountability, fairness, and closure would even look like at this point.
Don't forget to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. See you soon!